Welcome everyone to WISE Magazine CSI Credit Score Increase. I'm Carolyn Williams with Money Reverse, and I am going to be leading you through this challenge to become more financially credible by increasing your credit score. In this episode, we're going to begin with the basics of credit score and credit report. Now, for some of you that are actively managing your credit, this may sound a bit juvenile for you. And I do apologize. But with this challenge, we're going to make very few awareness assumptions when it comes to the topic of credit score and credit report. So we're going to begin at the beginning. So let's get started. Let's define a credit score. A credit score is a 3-digit number that's calculated by credit reporting agencies, and it's used to determine the level of risk that you would be if a lender extended a financial transaction to you that involved paying over time. Now, credit scores, they summarize information that's in your credit report, and they use various formulas. These are used by lenders, landlords, insurance companies as they are determining if they want to enter into a business relationship with you. And if they do enter a relationship, this helps them to determine what those terms are. Now, credit scores are also used by employers and nonprofit organizations as a part of their pre-screening process to determine if they want to hire you or have you volunteer within their organizations. They're used a lot. Having a good credit score and knowing what information you have, it is very important to your credibility. Now, if you have been confused about the credit score game in the past, I'm going to say you're in good company. Now, I say a credit score game because when you look at the facts, it really does seem like a game. Let's take a look. Fact number 1, there is not a single credit score. There are many credit scores. There's over 60 scores that's calculated for each of us at any given time by all the different various credit reporting agencies using a various number of formulas. So there is not a single credit score at all for each of us. Number 2, there's not a single credit scoring model. Remember those 60 scores that I said that's out there? There's just that many more models that's used. And a model is a formula that's applied to come up with that 3-digit number that is really representing you. And the third fact, there is not a consistent range to determine if your score is excellent, very good, fair, poor, or very poor. There's no consistent range there. These ranges are determined by businesses, by lenders, and employers at will. Each organization will determine what credit score range they're looking for to consider it to be a good credit score. Even the various credit reporting agencies' ranges vary a little bit. And depending on how economic times go, that varies the range classification as well. So again, there's not a game which is an if then else. If you do this, this is what will happen to your credit score. It does not work like that. So it's important to really understand the facts and understand the behavior so that you will know what's going on, what's being said about you, and things that affect it. And that's what we're going to do here in this challenge. I'm going to do my best to explain a lot of this information to you, but I want this challenge to be a trigger for you to do more reading and do more things to understand more about this area because it is so vast. There's so many facts out there and there's so much information. Post-challenge, I want you to have this as a trigger to go and learn more information about this topic on your own. And I think that is really going to help you just to be more aware. The credit score summarizes information that's in your credit report. So what better place to start? Let's talk about the credit report. Now, what a credit report is it is a detailed report of all of your credit history, payment information, credit that's been extended to you, and it's captured by the various credit reporting agencies or credit bureaus. Again, detailed information. I have my credit report here. I pulled my TransUnion report. It is 22 pages long. And in the credit report, there's a lot of detailed information. It has in here your name and all of your previous names, your current and your previous address, social security number, and a list of your current and past employers. It also has a summary of the types of credit that's been extended to you. It has information about the number of inquiries, how many people have been asking about you and getting information about your credit. It has the very details on how each account that you have has been paid over a period of time. And then it also has detailed instructions on what you can do to dispute any information in here that you find is not accurate. Now, the information in this credit report is the fact base that's used to determine your credit score. We cannot increase the credit score without improving the credit report. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we know what's in the credit report. Here's a couple of takeaways that I have for us for this part of the challenge. Number one, I want you to request a copy of your credit report. Now you can get, there's 3 credit bureaus out there, so you can get one of a credit report from each of the bureaus free every year by going to annualcreditreport.com. Again, that's annualcreditreport.com. There are 3 bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Unless you're getting ready to make a major purchase, I would not pull all 3 of these reports at one time. You can get a free report from each of these bureaus within a 12-month period of time. So for now, I would say pull one report. I pulled TransUnion. And I'll tell you why I pulled TransUnion in a minute. But if you don't know which report that you want to pull, I would suggest that you pull TransUnion. Information that comes up next in the next part of the challenge will give you more detail of why I picked that one. The second thing I want you to do after you pull that credit report, look at it, go through it in great detail. There's a lot of information here, but they do a very good job, all of them, with putting the information together in a way that's easy to understand. And they have a lot of explanations, charts, and tables. So it's easy to understand. And plus, it's your information, so it'll be familiar to you. If you see anything that's wrong there, follow the instructions that they have for disputing inaccurate information and get that submitted. Again, this is the fact base for your credit score, so it is important to get the credit report as accurate as it can be. And number 3, I want you to make a habit to repeat this process of reviewing your credit report. Pull one at this time, 2 other times throughout the year, do the same thing, and make this an annual practice for you so you can know early on if there are issues with the report. And it does happen. Like I said, I have something I'm going to dispute on here now. It's showing a balance on one of my accounts and I don't have a balance. So I'm going to get that corrected. Now, that's about the credit report. Let's talk about the credit score. The credit score is just a little bit more complicated than the credit report. There's not a single score that's formulated for you. There's a number of them. Again, over 60 possible credit scores are being calculated for you. And I'm going to go through them. Now, what the credit score is, it's really a model. We have our credit bureaus. We have Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. 3 credit bureaus, 3 different credit reports that you have. The credit score is a model, which is a formula that's used to be applied toward that credit bureau and come up with that number. So again, the first bureau, the first type of credit score that I'm going to talk about is FICO. FICO was created by Fair Isaacs Corporation over 20 years ago, and it is the de facto standard for credit scoring. It's the oldest credit scoring model that we have out there, and it is used, according to FICO.com, by 90% of the largest U.S. financial institutions to make credit decisions. FICO scores range from 300 to 850. And they are calculated again with the formula that has been developed and perfected by Fair Isaacs Corporation or FICO, the company themselves. And again, you can have a FICO score that is applied toward each of your 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. FICO, again, is the scoring model. Take this scoring model, put it against that credit report, and you get a FICO score from your Equifax credit report. You can apply a FICO credit scoring model against your TransUnion credit report. You get a FICO score from your TransUnion. So you can start seeing how all of these scores are developed. So FICO, if you want more information about FICO, you can go to myfico.com and they'll tell you much more about their scoring model and everything that they offer as a part of their services. They can do a much better job than I. Okay, FICO is #1 type of credit score. Now, each of the 3 bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they each have their own scoring model. So let's talk about Equifax. Equifax credit score uses the Equifax exclusive scoring model that's applied against their own report, and that comes up with a score that's called the Equifax credit score. The Equifax credit score has a range from 280 to 850 points. Same thing, TransUnion. TransUnion's score is called a Vantage score. An exclusive scoring model, that's TransUnion. It's called TransUnion Vantage score. Applied against your TransUnion credit report. TransUnion's Vantage score has a range from 500 to 990. 501 to 990. And then Experian's scoring model, it's called a plus scoring model. It has a range of 330 to 830. So you can see each of the 3 bureaus have their own scoring model, and you can have a credit score from each of them. And yet there's another type of credit score that I'm going to talk about, and it is called the Vantage score. What happened in 2006, these 3 bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they decided to get together, come up with a common best of the best scoring model that they all agreed upon, and they came up with a different scoring model, and they called it the Vantage score. There's been several versions of the Vantage score that's come out. The third one, Vantage score 3.0, it has the same scoring range as FICO, the lowest score being 300 and the highest score being 850. What they did also, when they came up with the new Vantage score, they also created a separate company, and it's called Vantage Score Solutions. So again, that created another scoring model that can be applied to all 3 of your credit bureaus. Now, what we've talked about in this session of CSI, we've gone through the credit report, and I've given you an introduction to the various credit scores. Now, for your takeaway, let's recap a few things. What we have to do this week is to pull your credit report. Go to annualcreditreport.com and pull one of your reports. If you have a report, a credit bureau in which you typically have problems, pull that one and start working through disputing the issues on that. If you don't have a preference as to which credit report you'd like to pull TransUnion. And the information I go over next week, well, again, I'll show you why we wanted to pull TransUnion. The second thing we want to do, if you find that there are any issues on that credit report that you pull, follow the instructions that's included there that tell you how to dispute that information and make that request to the Bureau to correct any inaccurate information. That's all that we have for this episode. In our next episode, we're going to go through how to get your credit score and how to get what I'm calling truly free credit scores. There's free credit scores, and then there's truly free credit scores, and there's lots of ways to get them. And I'm going to go through those in detail, so make sure that you have a pen and paper and ready to take notes. Thank you, everyone. Again, I'm Carolyn Williams with Money Reverse with Wise Magazine Credit Score Increase Challenge. Until next time.